Hi everyone, and welcome to this tutorial bite for Oxygen Not Included, where I'm going to look into the details of Bionic Duplicants, recently added in the Bionic Booster Pack DLC. I'm going to focus on what they are, how they compare to regular duplicants, and how to get the most out of them. So what are Bionic Duplicants? Well, they fill the same role as regular duplicants and do tasks around your base, but have some key differences. They are the main addition in the Bionic Booster Pack DLC, and of course you need to have bought this pack and have it enabled to have access to them. Getting Bionic dupes is the same as getting regular dupes, and they can be selected as starting dupes or chosen from the printing pod every 3 cycles. At launch, there are 6 unique Bionic dupes: Eduardo, Chip, Sonia, Ulti, Gizmo and Steeler. The starting dupes, you can now choose regular or Bionic in the top right. Whether you get regular or Bionic dupes in the printing pod is random though. In any case, you can have colonies that have only regular dupes, mixed colonies of regular and Bionic dupes, or even fully Bionic colonies. As a summary, let's look at a high level at their key features to understand what's the same and what's different compared to regular dupes, and then I'll cover these in more detail. Starting with the similarities, both regular and Bionic dupes do tasks around the base, which is the basic purpose of the dupes. They also both breathe oxygen and at the same rate of 100 grams per second. The only difference here is that Bionic dupes have a big storage tank that can last for 4 cycles, meaning they are better suited to working in areas with low oxygen. Then they fill this tank up by breathing and storing it when in oxygenated areas. On to the differences, there are quite a few, and an important one is that they don't eat food, so you won't need to grow any plants or ranch critters for food for them. Instead, they run on power banks using 200 watts from these, and I'll look at these in detail as they are very important. Then, Bionic dupes don't make pee like regular dupes, but instead remove a new liquid, Gunk. This can be done in the new Gunk extractor building, or an outhouse or lavatory, so kind of like dupes but with a different liquid. Additionally, Bionic dupes also regularly need their gears lubricated every 10 cycles. Otherwise they suffer a grinding gears debuff, which gives -8 athletics and plus 30% stress. Lubricating their gears can be done in 2 ways, either with a new lubrication station building or with gear balm made in the apothecary. Traits are another area of difference, and while Bionic dupes do have traits like regular dupes, they have an entirely different set of possible positive and negative traits, as well as overjoyed and stress responses. Further, Bionic dupes have different skills to regular dupes. Their skill tree looks very different, and instead of gaining the abilities that regular dupes do from learning skills, their skill tree unlocks booster slots, which lets them equip boosters to give them these abilities. That means they can be swapped in and out at any time, making Bionic dupes very flexible workers. Finally, for sleeping, Bionic dupes defragment, which is similar to sleeping, but they do not need as much sleep as regular dupes. Their default schedule has them sleeping for only 6 slots every 3 cycles, and when they do this, they also make microchips which can be used to tune up generators or craft boosters. So let's look at these in more detail one by one, and starting with their oxygen need. As I mentioned, they use oxygen at the same rate as a regular dupe, but have a large storage tank that can hold oxygen for up to 4 cycles. This makes them very useful for working in areas with low oxygen. That's kind of similar to an oxygen mask, but with a longer time, and also like oxygen masks, Bionic dupes do not have protection from other environmental problems like eye infections and getting wet, which in fact Bionic dupes are affected by worse than regular dupes. When Bionic dupes get back to a high oxygen area, they then breathe in to store oxygen, which can quite quickly drain an area of oxygen, causing problems, so be careful. Or they can refill themselves from canisters, either found on the ground or directly from a canister filler building. This is actually quite a neat way to let them breathe without taking lots of oxygen from their surroundings, and opens up the possibility of Bionic dupe living areas without an oxygen atmosphere. Just beware here that they aren't protected from harsh environments like dupes with atmosuits, and Bionic dupes can also use atmosuits themselves. When getting wet in any type of water, Bionic dupes get a severe stress penalty, so try to avoid this by choosing their pathing and mopping up spills. Next up to keep them alive is power, which is needed instead of food. Bionic dupes use power banks, and there are currently 3 types that can be used. The first 2 are metal power banks made from 200 kilograms of metal ore, and uranium ore power banks made from 10 kilograms of uranium ore. These are quite simple to use and are made in the crafting station. When using these, you just need to make enough to keep your bionic dupes alive, and there is also a power count available in the top left to show you how much you have, like food. The problem with both of these power bank types though is the materials to make them. Metal ore is obviously easy to get right from the start, but the amount they use is the problem. At 200 kilograms per power bank, 5 dupes would use 1 ton per cycle. That means even a small population of bionic dupes will very quickly use all of the metal ore on the map, and that's not even considering its many other uses in building things. Uranium ore power banks are a better deal, at only 10 kilograms per power bank, but the problem is getting to and digging up this ore. Radioactive biomes aren't usually close to starting areas, and uranium ore needs the super hard digging skill, so takes some time to access. Plus, when using these, they emit 60 rads of radiation, so can make your dupes sick. Using rad pills with them is therefore recommended. Overall, be very careful taking bionic dupes early on due to the challenges of supplying them with power. The third power bank type is really the long-term solution for powering bionic dupes, the Eco Power Bank. This is made in the soldering station from abyssallite, and the important thing is that when empty, they drop an empty Eco Power Bank which can be recharged. To recharge them, they need to be delivered to the power bank charger, which charges a power bank in half a cycle at the cost of 480 watts. 400 watts of this power goes straight into the power bank, and 80 watts is lost to inefficiencies. But using these means you can run your bionic dupes from power made on your power network, assuming you have enough generation. On average, you need 240 watts constantly per bionic dupe, so this quickly adds up to a lot of power draw for even a medium-sized colony. This makes bionic dupes better suited to mid and late game bases. Also beware for all power banks that getting them wet in any type of water will quickly make them take damage and explode, so keep them dry like the bionic dupes. If an eco power bank explodes though, you do get power bank scrap that can be recycled into the abyssallite in the rock crusher. Bionic dupes will refill their power bank stores when they get low, and bionic dupes can store up to 4 power banks unless they have the power banking skill, which adds an extra 2. Each dupe consumes 200 watts, and each power bank holds 120 kilojoules, meaning they all last for 1 cycle each. Next up then is the new liquid Gunk. This is like regular dupe P and can be removed in the new Gunk extractor building, which works like a toilet but only with an output. And bionic dupes can use outhouses and lavatories, but they then become stuck with gunk, which means dupes need to clear them out before they can be used again. The gunk itself has a few uses and can be boiled into petroleum, but the amount you get isn't very much. And the more important use is in making gear balm. This is one of the 2 ways to satisfy bionic dupes' need for lubrication. Gear balm is made in the apothecary, and the recipe uses water and gunk to make gear balm and polluted water. Note that the amount of gear balm made matches the amount of gunk produced, so you can make a closed cycle here. The other way to lubricate dupes is with the lubrication station. This building takes in up to 200 kilograms of either crude oil or phyto oil per use. And as an aside, phyto oil is a unique liquid found in the Bionic Booster Pack, and is made in the plant pulverizer from slime and has a side output of dirt. Lubricating the bionic dupes is important because if they don't get lubricated, then they suffer a grinding gears debuff, which applies -8 athletics and plus 30% stress. Note that this can be reduced with a bionic dupe skill, and let's look at these now. The skill tree is another major difference compared to regular dupes. At a basic level, their morale need versus skills taken is similar to regular dupes, but bear in mind that they don't eat, so don't benefit from great tools or food morale bonuses. You also need to assign them to beds to get any bedroom bonus, and gunk extractors do count towards washrooms, but you also need sinks in the room too. But as they don't get any food related bonuses, morale from other less typical sources is very important, for example nature reserves and decor. For a full guide to morale, see the morale tutorial bite. Also importantly note that the tier 2 skills take 3 morale, not 2, and in tier 3, complex processing takes a huge 9 morale and power banking 6 morale. That means the total morale required for all 8 skills is 27. Then the skill tree itself is clearly different, and there are only 8 different skills. These don't have the regular dupe skills, which are instead covered by boosters shown below that can be equipped and unequipped. To summarise the skill tree, it has 5 different skills that unlock additional booster slots, with complex processing unlocking 2 boosters for a total of 8 boosters maximum. Then 4 of the skills give a +2 athletics bonus each, which is quite nice. And there are 4 other unique things. Complex processing gives an exosuit penalty reduction, and improved gears halves the grinding gears debuff, as I mentioned. Then schematics lets bionic dupes use the soldering station, and finally power banking unlocks an extra 2 power bank slots, taking the total to 6. So to get the regular dupe skills, we need boosters, which are made in either the crafting station for lower tier skills, or in the soldering station for the more advanced skills. And here is the full list of boosters. They are made from microchips, which are gotten from when bionic dupes defragment, which is like sleeping, or from the power control station building. Here, dupes with the electrical engineering skill can turn refined metal into microchips, and this building must be in a power plant room. Boosters can be swapped in and out at any time in the config tab when clicking on a dupe. These make bionic dupes very flexible, and they can effectively cover every role in a colony with the right set of boosters available. Or you could stack the same booster multiple times to make highly specialised dupes. That makes them well suited to small colonies and in the Spaced Out DLC for rocket missions and colonising new planetoids. A key thing to note here is that the more advanced boosters don't have prerequisites. So that means, for example, that if a dupe has the extreme digging booster, then they can dig through 2 to 4 diamond hardness materials, but would also need the digging booster to get through 1 diamond materials. Overall this is an advantage, but just be careful not to assume they can do everything in a skill branch, just because they have the more advanced booster. For more information on each of the skills, see the skills tutorial bite. The next topic is sleeping, or as bionic dupes call it, defragmenting. By default, they do this less often than regular dupes, but the idea is the same. When defragmenting, they stop, either standing or in an assigned bed, and recover. Note that they also give off light when defragmenting, so be careful putting them next to regular dupes who will be kept awake at night by their light. At this time, they generate microchips at a rate of 1 every 2.5 minutes, and this timer continues every time they defragment. The default bionic dupe schedule has 6 slots of sleep, which matches this time. So by default, you'll get 1 microchip per bionic dupe every 3 cycles. And finally for differences, let's have a look at their traits. Bionic dupes have a whole new set of traits, both positive and negative. Here's the full list, which I'm not going to read out, but as you can see the positive traits simply give dupes a starting booster, which can be swapped, and the negative traits just give a relatively small attribute decrease. Further, bionic dupes have different overjoyed and stress reactions. For overjoyed, there are 2. Rainmaker, where bionic dupes should give out microchips, although I couldn't record them doing this. And Flash Mobber, which makes dupes dance. All bionic dupes currently have the same stress reaction, Stunner, in which they shoot out electricity, damaging all dupes near them. So to summarise overall, bionic dupes are an interesting alternative to regular dupes. They have a lot of unique features, but overall have equivalents to the behaviours of regular dupes. Given their high power usage, they are very difficult to manage early in the game, so beware taking too many of them too early. But later on they are definitely easier to use, especially once you have a more stable power system, and are great pilots and explorers where their flexibility becomes useful. In general, mixed regular and bionic dupe colonies use different resources, so may be easier to manage, but I think regular dupes are an overall simpler choice. And so that's everything there is to cover about Bionic Duplicants in Oxygen Not Included. I hope this has helped you understand what Bionic Duplicants are and how to use them, and thanks for watching.